Imagine waking up to a deafening silence. No birds singing, no dogs barking, no distant hum of insects. The world is eerily still. Overnight, all animals have vanished. You step outside, and there's not a single creature in sight. Panic spreads as people realize the enormity of what has happened. Animals are woven into the fabric of our existence. They are our companions, our sources of food, and play crucial roles in ecosystems. Without them, the world would change beyond recognition. The environment, the economy, and even our mental health would suffer. The initial reaction would be disbelief. People would struggle to comprehend a world devoid of animals. For children, it would be particularly confusing. Explaining the absence of their pets would be heart-wrenching. Adults, too, would find it hard to accept. The daily routines of many would be shattered. Farmers, zookeepers, and pet owners would face an immediate crisis. News outlets would be flooded with images of empty pastures and vacant zoos. Social media would explode with theories and frantic searches for answers. Governments would convene emergency meetings. Scientists would scramble to understand the cause. The disappearance would be the most significant event in human history. Panic buying would ensue as people anticipate food shortages. The absence of livestock would severely impact meat and dairy supplies. Animals play crucial roles in maintaining ecological balance. Predators keep prey populations in check. Herbivores manage plant growth. Decomposers break down dead matter, returning nutrients to the soil. The disappearance of animals would unravel these delicate interactions. Entire ecosystems would begin to collapse. Without herbivores, plants would grow unchecked, leading to overgrowth and competition for light and resources. Forests and grasslands would become dense and impenetrable. This would affect other flora, potentially leading to the extinction of certain plant species. Predators, despite their fearsome reputation, are vital for the health of ecosystems. Their absence would cause an explosion in prey populations, which in turn would overconsume vegetation. This imbalance could lead to soil erosion and the degradation of landscapes. Plants and animals are intertwined. Pollinators like bees and butterflies are crucial for the reproduction of many plants. Without them, crops and wild plants alike would struggle to reproduce. This would lead to a significant reduction in plant biodiversity. The lack of pollination would severely impact food production. Seed dispersers, such as birds and mammals, ensure the spread of plants across landscapes. Without these animals, many plants would be confined to small areas, unable to expand their ranges. This would reduce genetic diversity and resilience to environmental changes. Forests and other ecosystems would become more vulnerable. The absence of grazers would lead to overgrowth in some areas and undergrowth in others. Certain plant species would dominate, outcompeting others. The disappearance of animals would have a catastrophic impact on the human food supply. Livestock provides a significant portion of the world's protein. Meat, dairy, and eggs are staples in many diets. Their sudden absence would leave a gaping hole in food availability. People would have to find alternative sources of nutrition quickly. Fisheries, too, would be affected. Fish are a major source of protein for billions of people. Oceans and rivers would be eerily empty. Coastal communities that rely on fishing would be devastated. The ripple effects would be felt globally as fish stocks disappear. The world would face an unprecedented food crisis. Agriculture would also suffer. Many crops depend on animal manure for fertilization. Without it, soil fertility would decline, affecting crop yields. The absence of pollinators would reduce fruit and vegetable production. Farmers would struggle to adapt to these sudden changes. Food prices would soar, and shortages would become commonplace. The psychological impact of losing animals would be profound. Pets are beloved members of many families. Their loss would leave a void that is hard to fill. People would grieve deeply for their lost companions. The emotional bond between humans and animals is strong. The sudden absence would cause widespread heartache. Beyond pets, wildlife holds a special place in human hearts. Birds, butterflies, and other creatures enrich our lives. Their disappearance would create a sense of emptiness. Nature walks and outdoor activities would lose their charm. The natural world, once vibrant and full of life, would feel desolate and barren. Children in particular would be affected. Animals play a key role in their development. They teach empathy, responsibility, and curiosity about the natural world. Without animals, a vital part of childhood would be lost. The next generation would grow up in a world devoid of the wonder that animals bring. Animals are deeply embedded in human culture and history. They are symbols in myths, religions, and folklore. Their absence would create a cultural void. Many traditions and practices revolve around animals. Festivals, rituals, and customs would lose their meaning. The cultural landscape would be altered forever. In literature and art, animals are powerful symbols. They represent freedom, strength, and wisdom. Their disappearance would impact these forms of expression. Artists and writers would struggle to find new symbols to convey their messages. The richness of human creativity would be diminished. Religions often hold animals in reverence. Sacred animals are integral to many spiritual practices. Their loss would challenge the faith of many. Rituals involving animals would become impossible. Religious communities would need to find new ways to connect with the divine. The spiritual fabric of societies would be tested. In a world suddenly devoid of animals, the scientific community would be thrust into a state of emergency. Researchers would tirelessly work around the clock, grappling with theories ranging from environmental changes to extraterrestrial interference. The urgency to uncover the cause and devise solutions would be palpable. As the world looked to these scientists for hope, biologists and ecologists would intensely focus on the immediate ecological impacts, studying shifts in ecosystems and plant life. Understanding these dynamics would be crucial for any hope of recovery. Meanwhile, the loss of animal specimens would severely hinder ongoing research, presenting laboratories and field studies with unprecedented challenges. Conservationists would face profound devastation, as decades of efforts to protect endangered species would be undone in an instant. The loss of biodiversity would mark a significant setback, necessitating a complete rethink of conservation strategies. The sudden disappearance of animals would set off a domino effect of environmental changes. The most immediate impact would be felt in the food chain, where the roles of predators, prey, and decomposers in nutrient cycling and energy flow are critical. Without these players, these vital cycles would be disrupted, throwing the balance of ecosystems into chaos. Water bodies would suffer dramatically. Fish and aquatic creatures, key in maintaining water quality, would be sorely missed, leading to algal blooms and severe oxygen depletion. This in turn would make waterways less habitable for the remaining plant life, rapidly deteriorating the health of rivers, lakes, and oceans. On land, soil health would decline without decomposers to break down dead plant material, affecting nutrient availability and increasing soil erosion, impacting agriculture and natural landscapes alike. Despite the grim scenario, humanity's resolve to strive for recovery would shine through. Efforts to restore ecological balance would commence immediately, with reforestation and habitat restoration projects gaining momentum. Communities would unite with a renewed determination to protect and nurture plant life, working together to heal the planet. Technological advances would provide a glimmer of hope. Genetic engineering and cloning could play pivotal roles in reintroducing lost species. Scientists would explore innovative ways to recreate essential animals, and though these efforts would be fraught with challenges, the potential for success would drive continued innovation. The overarching goal of restoring ecosystems would serve as a powerful motivator. Educational programs would shift focus towards conservation and sustainability, teaching the next generation the critical importance of protecting our environment. Schools, universities, and community initiatives would emphasize the lessons learned from this crisis, hoping to prevent its recurrence. The disappearance of animals would serve as a stark warning, highlighting the interconnectedness of life on Earth. This crisis would teach humanity about the critical importance of protecting biodiversity, underscoring the fragility of ecosystems. The lessons gleaned from this event would prove invaluable for future conservation efforts. Humans would be starkly reminded of their dependence on the natural environment, illustrating that our survival is intricately tied to the health of the planet. This wake-up call would prompt a profound reevaluation of our relationship with the natural world, prioritizing sustainable practices. The event would inspire a renewed commitment to environmental stewardship, leading to increased attention and funding for conservation efforts.